Scream 6 is now the sixth film in the over 25-year franchise that started all the way back in 1996, which is also known as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, horror film ever made. This movie takes place exactly a year after the events of Scream 5. Our characters are now in a college phase. So you have Sam Carpenter, the main character, is played by Melissa Barrera. Her sister now is in college, Tara, played by Jenna Ortega. Also back for the other films, Mindy, played by Jasmine Savoy Brown. Her brother, Chad, played by Mason Gooding, are now in college. And there's new ghost-face murders now taking place in New York City, surrounding around Sam Carpenter being the daughter, as we found in the last movie, the daughter of Billy Loomis. Also back from a legacy point of view, Gail Weathers returns, played by Courtney Cox. She's now wrote another book about the events of the last film and still actually wants to help out, but Sam and Tara are very hesitant about trusting Gail in the situation. And the other legacy character back is Hayden Panettiere's Kirby Reed, returning from Scream 4. The film is 2 hours and 3 minutes long and is rated R. Welcome back to a brand new movie review here on Max. We'll be talking about Scream 6. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, movie rankings, and a box office breakdown show every single week. Or this upcoming Tuesday, we'll obviously break down what Scream 6 does at the box office. Comment down below, what is your ranking of the Scream franchise? I am very interested in possibly doing I really actually want to do a Scream ranking video here on this channel. Do that probably late next week, more likely, depending on my schedule. But what are your thoughts on this film? Did it live up to your expectations? Are you disappointed by the movie? No spoilers here, guys. No spoilers. We're not even going to hint at spoilers in this video. If you want a spoiler video for Scream 6, I would love the support. Right, go down to the comment section down below. So you want a Scream 6 spoiler review, and I'll do that video sometime next week. Also, please like the video, guys. A thumbs up button. That's how you support this channel as well. So I was very excited for this movie. I love this franchise. For me, the only film that I really don't like in this franchise is Scream 3. The rest of them are at least watchable. Obviously, nothing has really come close to that original film that really set up a whole genre of horror movies ever since. But I was excited for a lot of reasons. I really enjoyed Scream 5 last year. I'll leave that link for that video at the end of this video. It did so well. I think they handled everything perfectly. I think it makes sense to continue this franchise in a meta way in this new era. And this movie does that again as well. Also, obviously, Jenna Ortega is for me a top 2-3 working actor right now. She's amazing. I've reviewed everything I think she's actually done here on this channel in the last couple of years. And now coming off of Wednesday, seeing her in a movie was very exciting. Also seeing how Hayden Panettiere added to the fray as well. So let's get into Scream 6, which I want to say right off the bat that I actually loved this movie. And I'm really happy about it because I had such a blast from start to finish with Scream 6. This movie is as gory as any, if not probably the goriest film in this franchise. And I think it's one of the most terrifying films in the franchise as well. They use a great shot selection. And these also come from the same exact directors who directed the Scream film that came out last year. They also directed Ready or Not, which is a tie-in as Samara Weaving is one of the other new cast members into the cast for this movie. But they did a great job, especially using New York. The movie didn't feel like any other Scream film in a great way. I think a lot of people were kind of nervous taking us away from Woodsboro. And moving in, I'm a massive fan of this franchise. I've watched all the films multiple times. So moving away from Woodsboro, I was slightly nervous, but anticipating it. And this movie completely benefits in every way of it not being in Woodsboro, for it to be basically in New York City. And the subway scene that is in the trailer is even amplified even more. I think it's one of the most terrifying scenes in this franchise. When you get on the subway, it is intense. And the movie just takes its time with you on that subway. Love that scene, one of my favorite scenes of the movie. Another thing that I was actually nervous about was Sam Carpenter, played by Melissa Barrera. I wasn't the biggest fan of with the franchise going in her direction following the ending of the last film. Again, this is the first film in the Scream franchise without Sidney Prescott, without Neve Campbell playing Sidney Prescott. And again, it was over contract disputes, which I do think are ridiculous at this point for her. But at this point, this movie definitely, I'll just say it did not need her. This franchise, again, very similar to Creed without Stallone, I think does need to move forward with a new generation of characters. And I'll talk about the legacy characters here in just a second, but I was nervous about Barrera because I didn't really, I thought she was kind of okay in the last film. She's a lot more in control and stronger in this one because really the entire movie really centers around her character because that's who the Ghostface is targeting, her being the daughter of Billy Loomis, one of the original two killers in the first Scream film. And her reputation, she's become very famous in all of the wrong ways since the events of the last movie. And I love that. In the social media age, a lot of people would put connections to her Billy Lewis's daughter, her surviving this incident, and maybe thinking she could be the ghost killing who actually survived that for a reason, let's just say. And I really like Sam in this movie. I think she's the perfect lead character, I think, moving forward. Totally different from Sidney. Again, Sidney was that very innocent, but also badass chick right from the start. I think with Sam, there's a lot of conflicting things going on. She obviously in this movie is very much on top of Tara, played by Jenna Ortega, and she just wants her to be safe. That's her number one priority throughout the entire movie. And she has that caring sister side to her, but she also is also kind of wondering about if her legacy does have a factor in her life, both in her head and the actions that she carries. And it's a very fascinating lead character for this franchise as you don't really know sometimes if things are going over the line, if she truly is fighting for the right side, all of these things. So I really enjoyed her character a lot more. Also, I think it helps that she gets the majority of the screen time in this movie. As always, I absolutely adore Jenna Ortega, and she has even more to do than she did in Scream 5, as she's not just stuck in the hospital for the majority of the movie. She's great in this movie. I think what this movie does a great job of is how you deal with loss and these types of situations differently. Sam is very much so living in the past, living about her legacy, all these things about from the last year. And Tara has trying to just move on, go to college, live her life. She told her, I have a plan, you don't. Let her. She wants Sam to let her live her life. And I really love that storyline. Is that people cope with death, loss, and these types of events very differently. Sam wants to just not forget about this. How can you forget about this? And Tara is like, I'm not forgetting about it. I just need to move on and have a life after this. This can't be hanging over my head for the rest of my life type of thing. And I actually really adore their sister storyline in this movie. And Ortega has some badass lines and action scenes in this movie that I really appreciated. I also love it. The movie calls them the core four, the four people back from the last movie. You also have the nephews of Randy Meeks from the original franchise, with Jasmine Savoy Brown and Mason Gooding doing great work in this movie. Obviously, Jasmine Savoy Brown's Mindy basically becoming the Randy Meeks of this new franchise, and she has some great dialogue about the meta. She kind of delivers all the meta horror cliche things in this movie, just like she did in the last movie. She is awesome in this movie. I think even better than the last movie is Mason Gooding's Chad. He starts to build a little bit of a relationship with Tara in this movie, and they have great chemistry. And they feel like a great core four that I really did care a lot about throughout the movie. Legacy-wise, I think Courteney Cox does a much better job in this movie than she does in the previous film. Was not a huge fan of her performance in Scream 5, but for me, completely has especially this one scene, really knocks it out of the park. And again, you understand why the Carpenters are very detached, let's just say, from Gale Weathers in this movie. I liked Kirby in this movie, played by Hayden Panettiere. I wish he had a bit more to do, I guess, added into the movie. She has obviously things to do, but she wasn't as great as I don't think both legacy characters even come close to Dewey in the previous film. The kills are awesome in this movie. I think all of the kills are very much enjoyable. I also love the opening scene of this movie. I think it's easily the best opening scene since the Drew Barrymore opening scene. Obviously, nothing touches that. That's opening scene gold. But I think this movie is easily the second best in this franchise. I love the opening 15, 20 minutes of this movie. And there's also a lot of, as I think a lot of people want to know, the twists and turns are very fun in this movie and do keep you guessing. There are truly times where you might know one, two, whoever many killers you think there are. But I think the movie does a good job of motivation, let's just say, and making sure, you know, a lot of these characters could actually be Ghostface. A couple of the negatives that I'll say is that there are sometimes a bit too many cheesy lines that kind of get thrown into the mix here. And some really work for comedy purposes and some kind of just fall flat. As I said, I think Kirby's character could have had a little bit more to do. I can't really get into Kirby's character unless we go into, or really a lot of these characters' motivations unless we go into spoiler territory. But I think they could have added more to what she's been up to since Scream 4. Let's just say that. I think they kind of talk about it in like a sentence or two, but I think we need a little bit more description of what she's kind of been up to since the previous Scream film. And as I said, I think there's also a couple new characters that are kind of added into the mix. Ethan, played by Jack Champion, and Anika, who just felt very forced into the movie, that we needed more characters. I think moving forward, I don't think we need to add as many new characters for this franchise moving forward who have a vital point in the story. I feel like at times there's a bit too many people in this movie, and it got a bit clogged up a couple of times throughout the film. But overall, as I said, I love this movie. I think this is an improvement over the last film, and I am excited, hopefully, for more Scream films down the line. I think this is a great rejuvenation for this franchise, and I just love this franchise. I think this movie did a great job executing what it's like in 2022 and 2023. So I'm going to give Scream 6 a 4.5 out of 5 here. I'm going to go 86% for Scream 6. I love this movie. I can't wait to keep talking about this movie with a lot of other people who are checking it out. Again, if you want to hear my spoiler thoughts, let me know in the comment section. They actually want to do a spoiler review. My schedule is busy, so if you want to let me know, I'll do it. I'll plan that out next week to do a spoiler breakdown. But more videos are coming here on the channel, including a Last of Us reviews, Mandalorian reviews, Bad Batch reviews, other movie reviews, and a box office breakdown show. Here's my review of Scream 5. Don't worry, I'll do a Scream ranking very, very soon. I'll see you guys soon.